Thank you very much, Cancor, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to raise this important issue. And I also appreciate that the Minister stated the Department of Transport Deputy Sean Canny is here to reply. Bus commuters on the Cavan-Dublin route were absolutely shocked to learn on the 16th of June of a massive increase in fares from that date. A daily return ticket from Cavan to Dublin was increased from €18.50 to €27.30, representing an increase of almost 50%. I wasn't aware of the proposed increase, and I know from regular commuters on that route who were in touch with me that they were unaware of the proposed fare increases. I can correlate. Over recent years, there has been a welcome increase in the frequency of bus services in both rural and urban areas, which we all welcome. The policy of successive governments is to encourage people to use public transport where possible, and that policy has been supported by practically unanimously by the Oireachtas. To encourage people to switch to public transport, there is a need for reasonably priced fares. That decision by the National Transport Authority, in the case of the route we are discussing, is not fair and it is not equitable. Those fares must be reviewed and reduced. Typically on a bus any morning you have people going to work, students going to college, people going to hospital appointments and people going about their ordinary business. Minister, as you are aware, there is a commitment in the programme for government to keep fares low and affordable. But I think the people on that particular route would question how that particular policy is being implemented. A young lady who travelled on that route 5 days a week was in touch with me, and she sent me an extract from the relevant website. And the question posed on the website was what this means for commuters. From June the 16th, fares on commuter services provided by both Bus Ireland and Go Ahead Ireland are to change, with some decreasing, some increasing and some largely unchanged. No mention of Cavan fares and the massive increase proposed there. And from what that young lady doing some research, she said that it appears to be by far the highest fare increase in recent times. Minister, what I'm asking you to do is to ask the National Transport Authority to review that particular determination as urgently as possible and have the fares substantially reduced to in the range of what they were up until the 16th of June. As you know, Minister, the three counties of Ulster in this state, Donegal, Monaghan and Cavan, don't have a rail service. When we travel from Cavan to Dublin, we pay 2 tolls on the way to the outskirts of Dublin city. There is a lot of congestion, as we know, both in the outer Dublin area and in the city. People want to use public transport, but they want to have it at a reasonable price. So, Minister, I mentioned this to you, and I would sincerely request that the National Transport Authority are told to review this matter and reduce the fares and ensure that commuters from Cavan to Dublin and commuters from Dublin to Cavan, that they're treated with respect and with a reasonable fare structure. Thank you, Achan Corda.
Minister.
Thank you, and I thank Deputy Brendan Smith for raising this issue, and you have spoken to me before about it, so I really appreciate you bringing it to light. And I think from the outset I would like to clarify that the Minister for Transport has responsibility for policy and overall funding in relation to public transport. However, neither the Minister nor his officials are involved in the day-to-day operation of public transport services. The statutory responsibility for securing the provision of public passenger transport services nationally rests with the National Transport Authority. The NTA works with the public transport operators who deliver the service and have responsibility for the day-to-day operational matters. The NTA also have the statutory responsibility for the regulation of fares charged to passengers in respect of public transport services provided under public service obligation contracts or PSOs. In this context, the NTA published the National Fare Strategy in 2023. This aims to create a more equitable, consistent and easy to understand fare system based on distance travelled. In line with this strategy, the NTA published fare determinations in January 2024 covering the Dublin City Zone 25 km from the city and the Dublin Commuter Zone 50 km from the city centre. This determination is being implemented in 2 phases. The second phase of this determination was introduced on the 28th of April with new multimodal fare caps and revised commuter rail fares. Phase 2B, pertaining to adjustments to commuter bus fares, commenced on the 16th of June. I think this is the one you're referring to. This builds on the previous rail fare changes introduced in April. The new zone and fare structures, which have been widely publicised, aim to deliver more consistent and equitable fares, reducing disparities, particularly in the outer commuter towns surrounding Dublin. These are distance-based fares. The existing fare structures were not always equitable, consistent or easy for passengers to understand. The new distance-based approach aims to address this by providing a fairer and clearer fare system. In Cavan, fares have seen an increase in single adult from £9.45 to £11.40. It is important to note that these fare changes will see increases for some passengers and decreases for others to allow for a more equitable fare structure, and it is the NTA's intention to roll out further changes and future determinations during 2025.
Minister, the figure that I have been given, and I know that people are paying, is the return fare went from 18.50 to 27.30, and it's somewhat of a different percentage increase than the single fare you quoted. Minister, can I say that you quite rightly refer that the intention is to have fairer fare charging system. That's not applicable in the case of the Cavan route that I have quoted to you in my introductory remarks. And one other issue that I've been raising, Minister, before you went to the department during the lifetime of Minister Ryan, was the need to have introduced a direct Cavan to Dublin service, a route leaving Cavan in the morning at peak time, 6 a.m. in the morning or 5 a.m, only stopping in Virginia and Whitegate on the Cavan-Meath border and then into Bus Áras. At the moment, most of the services go through Kells and other Meath towns, and so there's a longer time it takes for the person to get from Cavan to Dublin. In the evening time, when people are returning to Cavan, if they're leaving around 3 o'clock and later in the afternoon, when the bus for Cavan gets as far as Blanchardstown or maybe Phibsborough, sometimes it's full. And a lot of the passengers on the bus are actually passengers going to Meath towns, where there is great frequency, a welcome frequency of buses to Navan and Kells. Well, we have argued, and I know that local employees and Bus Éireann are as anxious as the commuters and myself, to see direct routes leaving Bus Áras at peak evening time from 3 to 5, 3 to half 5, that they would only stop at Whitegate on the Cavan-Meath border, Virginia and Cavan town. And as I said earlier, the early morning buses from Cavan would leave Cavan, stop at Virginia and Whitegate directly to Bus Áras, and we would enhance considerably the standard of service for commuters, people travelling every day. I know it's very difficult for Bus Éireann employees when they come to Blanchardstown. Patients leaving James Connolly Hospital may have to wait hours to get on a bus. That's not acceptable, Minister, and I hope that you can raise that issue as well.
Thank you, Deputy Smith, and I just want to assure you that the Government is strongly committed to providing all citizens with reliable and realistic sustainable mobility options, and public transport plays a key role in the delivery of this. To support this objective, the budget from the Department of Transport secured 658 million in 2025, and that's of 658 million, and that's an increase up from 613 in 2024. I think this funding has actually, what it has done, it has supports the continuation of the 20% fare reduction on PSO services, the young adult card for both PSO and commercial bus services, and the 90-minute fare, the 90-minute fare until the end of 2025 for rail. Going back to the return fare that you've mentioned there, I will get them 18.50 to 27.30. I will get that checked out. That looks like a very large increase. And just talking about the peak morning and evening schedules, I think that's something as well I'll bring back to see how we can do that. And I can appreciate that if you come out from Dublin and you have people getting on or on the way out, and you have to leave people after you, it's not the experience we want to give to passengers. It's not the experience we want to give if we're hoping that we get more and more people to use public transport. So I will bring that back. But just to reassure you, Deputy, that the Department and the Government's investment of 658 in the PSO and local link services in 2025 demonstrates our commitment to a sustainable, equitable and accessible public transport network for all. And I think it's also a sign of the times that we're now very exercised about the public transport and the quality of it, because people are demanding, more and more people are demanding it. So I think that's a success in itself, but we need to make sure that it's a good experience they get all of the time. So I thank you again, and I will be talking to Minister O'Brien about the issues you've raised as well. So thank you.